Primary ignition.
Welcome to Unlimited Power. My name is D-Rod, and here's my guide for playing Han Solo at your local Shadows of the Galaxy pre-release for Star Wars Unlimited, the trading card game. Now, if this is one of your first time watching one of my videos, I start off by saying that a lot of the cards we're going to look at are going to be commons and uncommons within the set that work well with this leader, Han, his abilities, and whatever aspects you may find yourself having the most of. Yes, there are going to be some great rares and legendaries that pair well with some of these leaders, but getting one of those is few and far between when you only get 6 booster packs in your pre-release kit. So it's kind of better to focus on cards that can really fill out your deck, cards that can really keep you with the tempo as well as the synergies you're looking for with these abilities. So let's go ahead and start off by looking at Han Solo, his ability, and what he brings to the table. So Han Solo is not a reprint, but this is our second time seeing him as a leader. This is young Han Solo from the Solo movie and books, and here we see him in the aggression aspect. As an action, you can exhaust him to play a unit from your hand, and it costs 1 less. Deal 2 damage to it. So this is apparently the cost of playing the unit. So when you play the unit, it is going to take 2 damage before any win played abilities trigger. So you can get some value out of here of playing some stronger units early. You want to have units that have obviously more than 2 health. Some keywords you want to look at are probably things going to be like grit or ambush. Grit, especially because this damage is going to make your unit stronger. Ambush is a little bit more second tier, but it gives you the options of playing an ambush card early while dealing with your opponent. So it's more like you're treating some units as defeat events rather than units you plan on keeping in play. Now, as a deploy option, Han Solo can come out when you have 5 or more resources, which means he can do this as early as turn 4. When he's in play, he has a 3/6 stat line, and as an action, you can still play a unit from your hand. It costs 1 less, deal 2 damage to it. So what's nice about Han Solo now is he no longer is limited to once per turn. He doesn't exhaust to do this ability. He doesn't have to attack to do the ability. It is merely an action. So when you're sitting with maybe 6 resources, this means you could play a couple, 3 units that all cost originally 3 apiece and put them all out there. So keeping cards in your hand is going to be important in playing this aggressive package. Let's take a look at some of the cards within Han's aspects of red and white and see which ones can pair well with him. The first one's going to be Heroic Renegade, a common with the grit mechanic. Use Han's ability to put this into play on turn 1 for 1 resource, damage it, and allow it to now hit your opponent for 4. Yes, it only has 1 health, but that 4 damage, as long as you can get through, is going to be great. The real thing you have to worry about here with Han Solo is damaging your units, and your opponent probably playing aggressive as well and using cards to just ping your own. That's probably going to be the big concern, but take the risk. It's a limited format. Your opponent may not have those cards where you may have these. Desperado Freighter is a great one here. I really love this card just because it is the old ship known as the Outrider, which was a YT model originally, not really listed here, but it's from the game Shadows of the Empire. So it was a nice card to see, but it does have blank text, but it can still work for us. If you can use Han's ability, this card is pretty solid when you're paying 4 for it. It's a 5/6 unit, so Han can easily damage it and it can stay in play for a bit of time. Next is Ketsu Ono. Not a card you want to use the ability with, but a strong uncommon to put into your deck. It's a 2-cost unit with a 3/2 stat line. It has Saboteur, so you can get past Shields and Sentinel. And when they deal combat damage to the base, they may defeat an upgrade that costs 2 or less. So this is going to be great for removing shields or certain type of bounties that may be played on your unit or anything like that. In the aggression aspect, let's look at Covetous Rivals, a great unit at the 6 resource cost, 5 if you use Han's ability. If you use Han's ability, you can get a 5/5 into play with Grit. Han's ability will make it an easy 7/5. That's already taken 2 points of damage, but a 7 right there off the bat is going to be pretty strong. When you play this card as well and on attack, you can deal 2 damage to any unit with the bounty. Desperate Attack is definitely a common that pairs well with Han. Attacking with damage units and it gets +2 for the attack. Well, that just makes cards like that Heroic Renegade earlier much better. Turn 1, you play Heroic Renegade with Han's ability. Turn 2, you play Desperate Attack, and now that Heroic Renegade is hitting for 6 on turn 2 in opponent's base. That is super strong. You have essentially done over a fifth of the opponent, fifth or more to your opponent's base of damage. Last is the Tension Block Rescue, a great common that's going to deal 3 damage to any unit, 6 if they are currently capturing one of your cards. That 3 damage can really get you past a lot of opponents' cards. This is also going to help you deal with units that are maybe attacking you, and you want cards like this in your aggro package. In the cutting aspect, we have a little bit of variety here. With Han, you can go a couple of different directions, but Underworld may be one of the solid choices as far as builds. With the Underworld one, I'm going to recommend Enfys Nest, an ambush card that costs 6, 5 with Han. You can ambush this unit in with the 5/4 stat line, and while a friendly unit, including themselves, is attacking using the ambush ability, the defender gets -3, -0. So not only could you bring this in a turn earlier and to attack a unit, it can kind of protect itself. And that's valuable with a card like Han. If you damage this with Han, you're going to go down to two life remaining. But if you can kill your opponent's unit without them doing any damage to you, I think that's a fair trade-off of using that wisely. This also makes all your other ambush units a little bit stronger. Another ambush unit you could try is the Falcon. As long as it's played from your hand, it's going to gain ambush. It's a 5/5 unit that costs 6, so you can go ahead and use Han's ability to bring this out a turn earlier and let it go to town. And last is Ma Klanuki. If you end up going cunning and you have a lot of Underworld units, this is another good one to bounce units back to your hand. And when you do so, you can deal 3 damage to an opponent's unit as long as it was an Underworld unit. I think that's great. Again, we talked about dealing damage to your opponent's units to clear the board. You can also rescue one of your Underworld units that may be brought in with Han that was about to die and bring it back out using Han's ability again, or just pay for its full cost. Vigilance is probably going to be a strong choice with Han Solo because you're going to get more grit mechanics and a little bit more removal. Let's take a look at Gentle Giant. Gentle Giant is definitely a great example of Wookies in this game. You can use them. You can use Han's ability to bring this giant out for 5 instead of 6, immediately damaging it and letting him use its grit mechanic. It has a 2/8 stat line, so when you damage it with Han, it's going to hit for 4, and it'll still have 6 health remaining. On attack, though, you can heal damage from any other unit, like Han Solo or one of your other ones, equal to damage. And heal. You may heal damage from another unit equal to the damage on this unit, right? So damaging it's going to be great, and it's going to keep your other units alive. The Rorschach Tree Tender is another great one because you can put this out as early as turn 2, and it's a 2/4 unit with grit. So with Han, you can put this out on turn 1 and already have a 4 attacking unit ready to go. Rivals Fall is a strong common in the event slot here. I just think this card is you're going to see this all the time in constructed matchups now. The ability to pay 6 to defeat any unit in play is just a solid card for the common slot. In the command aspect, we're going to look at a Delphi Patrol Wing. Using this kind of card can give you some benefits with Han Solo. You pay 5 for this space unit to come out into play, and it's a 4/6 unit, and when played, you may attack with the unit. If you have the initiative, it gets +2/+0 for this attack. So use Han's ability, bring this out on when you have 4 resources rather than 5, and you can go ahead and swing with another unit in play. It's best to do this with the initiative here so you can get that +2 bonus going as well. Mercenary Company is another strong one. We've talked about Ambush, but this one has Overwhelm as well. So pay 5 for this unit, allow it to take 2 points of damage, ambush and overwhelm your opponent. You may be using Mercenary Company as a defeat event at this moment, but it's a strong one, and any excess damage you do on the unit is going to go to the opponent's base. And the final card for the command aspect I'll recommend is Outflank. When you're dealing with a lot of damage units, Outflank brings you some value here. You can pay 1 for this event and attack with 2 units at one at a time during the same action. So when you have 2 damage units in play and you're worried that your opponent may take one of them out, even though they're some of your heaviest hitters, this allows you to get that damage straight into the opponent's base before they can deal with it. I think this is going to be a solid choice, and I love that it's a common in the set. Speaking of Wookiees, from earlier, we are going to look at Wookiee Warrior. With Han, it just makes sense to pair him with some Wookiees, which is why I think Vigilance is going to be a strong package for him. If you can get some of these heroic ones, then it's even better. Here you have a 4-cost Wookiee that's a 2/5 with grit. Damage this hairy unit here, and it's going to be a 4 really quickly. And as long as you have another Wookiee, you can draw a card when you play it. Gray Squadron Y-Wing is just going to continue to put damage on your opponent's units here, but it's their choice when it happens. For 2, you get a 1/3 space unit, and on attack, it's just going to make your opponent choose who they want to damage on their side of the board. And last is Smuggler's Aid. When you're playing a little bit more aggressive, it's not bad to put this card into your deck. You can always put it into your resource pile and save the healing ability for when you really need it. I don't mind paying 3 to heal my base when I'm in a desperate mode, especially if you just don't get a lot of restore mechanics in your aggressive package. And lastly is the non-aspect cards here. Let's go with Lady Proxima. You may be playing a lot of Underworld cards in this set. Lady Proxima really fits the Han Solo theme here, especially the younger one, as she was kind of his boss for over a decade. And Lady Proxima is a 0/4 unit, so you can easily bring this in for free with Han Solo. Every time you play another Underworld card, deal 1 damage to the base. Speaking of Underworld, the Street Gang Recruiter is another great one. For 5, you can pay for this 4/4 to come into play, and when you play it, you can return any Underworld card from your discard pile to your hand. This does not mean it has to be a unit. It can be any event or upgrade. And lastly is the Twin Pod Cloud Car, a 3-cost space unit with a 2/2 stat line with the Restore 2 ability. This type of card is definitely going to be a staple for many sealed decks in this format because it's just a solid choice. It pulls a lot of hate from your opponent. They're going to have to deal with something that's going to have Restore 2. That's just a little bit too high. Restore 1 is definitely can be a problem, but not as annoying as Restore 2 is. This kind of card can really widen the gap between your health and your opponent's health. So here's my guide for playing Han Solo. Let me know how it goes at your future pre-release or sealed event. I definitely want to know what rares or legendaries or aspect you went going. Let me know if this was helpful. Appreciate everyone watching. If you like content like this, make sure you like and subscribe. Good luck again, and may the Force be with you.